So I wanted to talk about one of the issues that I don't think I fully explained in the material for the first week, and that's okay because this is really not what the course is about, getting all perfect on logic and logical form, but just to basically start thinking about certain issues that may help us later on in the course when we form our own arguments and when we assess the arguments of others, etc. One of the issues that I sort of threw in there was the issue of the conditional statement. And I'm going to make a statement appear right now on the screen that is just a throwaway example of a conditional statement. If Jim goes to the store, then he will buy milk. One of the things that we recognize, first of all, from that statement is that it's not a simple declarative statement. It doesn't sort of just say Jim will go to the store or Jim will buy milk. It's a conditional statement. It's got an antecedent, Jim goes to the store, and it's got a consequent, he will buy milk. But it's all one statement. That's the thing. I mean, a conditional statement is not two statements, because think about it. It's got two components. It's got that antecedent, Jim goes to the store, and it's got the consequent, he will buy milk. But it doesn't say two things, does it? It says one thing. It states a relationship between those two statements, you might say. That is, it doesn't say that Jim will go to the store, and it doesn't say that he will buy milk. What it says is that if he goes to the store, then he will buy milk. That is, it states a relationship or a link between the two events, Jim going to the store and him buying milk. So if the statement is true, then we know that if Jim goes to the store, then he will definitely buy milk, and that's all we know. So if we're in a logic class, we would really explore the sort of mysteries of the conditional statement in some complexity. They're very, very tricky and really very, very important in logic. And the important thing to see, or what I wanted you to see in those quizzes, is that there's no reasoning there. Right? Now, reasoning has to have a premise and a conclusion, and the premise has to, in some way or another, be interpreted as a reason for the conclusion. There's no reasoning here. There's no inference here. If you wanted to fill this out, which I did in the quiz, to reasoning, you would say first statement or first premise would be the conditional. If Jim goes to the store, then he will buy milk. And then you could have an additional premise. Jim does go to the store. And then you conclude that he will buy milk. But that would be reasoning. Then we have an inference. But right here, what we have is a single statement. And right there, that disqualifies it from being reasoning. I mean, reasoning, you have to have at least two statements. You have to have two identifiably different statements, because you have to have one that serves as a premise and one that serves as a conclusion. Here, you only have one statement. If Jim goes to the store, then he will buy milk. It's a very different thing. An if-then statement is not reasoning. It's just an arbitrary connection between two things. Right? Think about it. I mean, if you replace the if-then with the therefore, or if you just replaced the then with the therefore, it wouldn't make any sense. That is, if Jim, or you replace the if too. Jim goes to the store, therefore he will buy milk. It's a terrible. I mean, it's a form of an argument now, but it doesn't. It's not a good argument, right? That is, it's arbitrary. It's not a valid argument. Whereas if you're making an if-then statement, it's like a command in programming. You can link two things together however you wish. There doesn't have to be any kind of logical relationship between the two statements or the two events. There's no inferential relationship between the two. So I wanted to just get that out there, that a conditional statement, very tricky in logic, but just look at any statement such as the one you're looking at now. I mean, there's no reasoning there, so it doesn't constitute any kind of argument.